Good afternoon. I'd like to call our June 18th board meeting together of our McLeod County Board of Commissioners. Can we please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business will be our consideration of agenda items. We have a couple changes. We will be removing in item 11, we'll be removing letter A. That has been resolved. And prior to environmental services, we will be seeing a resolution for a disaster declaration. And that is resolution 24 CB20. So we have one to remove and one to add.
I'll move to approve with the corrections. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kruger and a second by Nick to approve the agenda with the changes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Move consent agenda, Mr.
Second.
We have a motion by Schmalz and a second by Kruger to approve today's consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carries. Moving on, we have Veteran Services here with a wonderful presentation. So Cassandra, join us.
Good afternoon, Board. I have invited Dave Skoog to come talk to you guys about the new Gold Star Family Monument that is at the McLeod County Veterans Memorial Park in Hutchinson per Commissioner Wright's request. So he's got a little presentation for us, and then I have some for you that he brought along.
Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me. We've had a couple of, well, it's been a busy last few months, let's put it that way. We've got a number of projects going. The one we just finished up before Memorial Day was the Gold Star Families Monument. For years it was Gold Star Mothers, and the dad and the kids would sit in the background and say, well, what about us? It was our brother, it was our son. It was nice for the mothers, but the rest of the family felt left out. So this last year, Jeff Sterner from Winstead and I, he's on our board too. We got together and we said, let's make this happen. So December, we started working on it. We had a lot of time to get it done. But as you know, time slips away and pretty soon we're looking for time to get this done. So in actuality, 1 week before Memorial Day, it was all completed. But I had a lot of help with this project. Once Jeff got it cut in Lester, no, where is he from? Winstead. Proline cut it for us, cut the panels for us. Brian Ponath from town, he's helped me in a number of projects with the Memorial Park. He does a lot of concrete work. I did a lot, but he did a lot more than I did over my lifetime. And he's always happy to help, donate his time. So I got this thing formed up. If you can see the upper right and the lower right, those were formed up, and we had to do a lot of measuring. You don't measure twice and cut. We measured about 13 times because those sleeves that stand up and down, there's two sleeves per panel, and they have to be exactly perfect. They're 2 1/8 inch holes, and we had 2-inch poles that go in. So when the concrete is done, these slide into the cement. No ambiguity there. It's got to fit. So once we got it formed up, that big center photo, I had a friend who works at the concrete plant. He said, I've got a few wheelbarrows of cement left over. Do you want to pour that tomorrow? I said, great. And then we could make sure all those sleeves are in where we want them. And that's the way it was. The upper right, we poured it the next day, troweled it. We knew there was going to be a finished product there, so we just wanted to get it smooth and tamped in. The lower left, we cut those sleeves, the excess sleeves off, took the forms off. The city came out and helped us clean that mess up. And then the next slide, please. And then Danny Gleeden, who is a good tile man, he does a lot of bathroom tiles and floor tiles. He helped me put marbleized granite on this concrete slab. We went out to Carpets Plus to see if we could find the tile that we wanted to put on there. And Todd, who is a 40-year guard member, said, how about if I donate marbleized granite? It's about 1 3/8 inches thick. It's very, very heavy, but it looks beautiful. Now I had to drill in angle irons on the cement to hold this in place until it was set up. But Danny helped me put that all on. The lower two left photos, where we've got the sides on, putting the top on. Disrespect to the measuring from Carpets Plus, but there was a gentleman there. I'm from the old school. I'm from Fred Flintstone, ring leaf notebooks and tape measures, and I do that a lot. Well, they had a tripod with a computer on it. They put stickers over here, and you punch in some numbers. You put the sticker over there. He said, I've got all the dimensions I need. I said, okay, that's going to fit, huh? Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Panels on. 3 out of 6 were perfect. 3 were not. And it was, I'm not complaining to them because they donated all this. It took about an extra hour to grind out these holes to make sure they were correct. Otherwise, they were off by 3/8 of an inch in the middle. But it was all donated. We didn't complain. We got it done. That took about a day to get that all put on. And then we had Tim Burley from Hutch was going to be doing all the laser etching on the panels. He is so involved in so many things. He's a great guy, very patriotic. He's into so many things. He had some health problems. He couldn't get the laser etching all done, so we took it out to Reese Seefeld, who lives north of town on number 4, road that goes to Bear Lake Road. He did a very nice job of etching the panels. And then Brandon Vick, who owns ABP, it's something blast and paint. He does finishing work. Used to be night guard painting. Did a beautiful job on the first coat, which was black with gold mist. And then Susie Mackey, who lost her brother over there in Vietnam, she did all the gold symbols. And you can see this now. This is hanging up in the fin top before they put the clear coats on, 2 coats of clear. Did a beautiful job on that. And then they helped, they brought it into town, and then we had like 4 guys holding these panels and pushing them into the pole. It was very tight, but they fit really well. There's nobody going to steal these panels. So, yeah, we could do the last. Here we go. This was after it was, I don't know if I took these pictures before. I guess it was after because there's flowers on there now. We did have it covered up for the ceremony. And then we had 5 families who had lost loved ones in mostly the Vietnam War, 1 in Afghanistan, come forward and unveil this monument as we had Toby Keith's song, American Soldier, which talks about freedom is not free and the sacrifices everybody made for our country. There were a lot of patriotic tears in the crowd. And that's what I was hoping for, that people really respect these families. They went through a lot. And this monument is for them, the families. So that is in the park. Eventually, we're going to be putting a brick walkway up to there with a bench. But I think it looks really nice. What was really funny, in the morning it was raining the day of the ceremony. And we live out by Lake Alley, and I was coming in, the rain quit. It was going to the east. I said, that's good. We had about 3 hours of no rain. The sun came out as they unveiled the monument, and it shined on that gold. And the people go, wow, there's somebody watching over this for us today. So that went really well. And we had a lot of help, monetary donations, in-kind services, and that's what it takes to get all this done. So that is it on the Gold Star family. Anybody have any questions on it?
Mr. Chair, go ahead. I don't have any questions, but Dave, thanks for doing this, coming today, taking care of the park. I mean, it has McLeod County's name on it, and it probably should have Dave Skoog's name on it, the amount of work he put
Well-
into it. So thank you for all of that, and I was there that day.
Yes.
It was great, it was powerful, and I had the opportunity to run into you throughout the project and talk to you a bunch, so I was
So-
probably as excited as you were, so.
It's always a pleasure, and it's, somebody says, you put a lot of work into this park. I said, there's never been 1 ounce of work, ever. The helicopter, the Eagle out front, the Navy anchor, it's all full. I'm happy to do it as a veteran. Means a lot to me, too.
All right, thank you very much.
We have another item, if we can. We've got, and Sandra's going to hand out some material too. We've got the wall that heals coming to town. That's the large Vietnam traveling wall. It is the one that is directly associated with Washington, D.C. There's a couple other ones out there which are nice, but we have to go by their rules. They're very strict. They're very nice people. We love them to death. But you will stay inside this box. For everything that you do, you will stay inside that box. So the initial talk with the lady in Washington had 6 or 7 things I had planned, and she went, no, no, yes, no, no, and yes. So I had to correct all the no's. You know, where is it going to be? Where does it face? Are there walking paths? No walking paths behind this wall. There's no high school kids making noise next door. There's no campsites next door. There's no cars from the parking area shining lights on the wall at night. There's no buildings directly in the background of this wall. They want it to look and feel like the wall in Washington. And I agree with her 100%. So we ended up with the industrial park out on Benjamin Avenue in Hutch, on the east side of town, past the recycle and scrap iron deal, and behind Warrior Manufacturing. There's about a 4-acre clear lot with a wide open lot to the north. We've got a building, I can't remember who was in that building on the west side, but that's empty, and we're going to use the working. It's going to work out really well. We're going to have about, the number isn't final yet, but between 250 and 350 motorcycles escorting this big truck into town. It's a 58-foot trailer. It's got all the decals and the insignia on the side of it. The police will be involved. You knew that, right, Joe?
I did.
Firemen, deputies, whatever. Make sure this goes really well. We're just hoping that and Joe, you can help on this, making sure that roundabout's done by August 20th. Yeah. I know they had some relays here, but that way we want to come in so we can come by Menards and go all the way down Main Street, coming from Glencoe to start and going through Biskie and then into Hutch on the airport road and around by the VFW to 5th Avenue and east. That's our plan. We hope that it works. All the material you've got there should tell you what's happening. We're going to have an opening ceremony, official opening ceremony, Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. We've got a few dignitaries talking there. Got a lot of volunteers. We need a lot of volunteers, and they're coming forward. Probably 300 total on this, 24 hours a day for 5 days. 24 hours, 6 or 7 shifts, 6 or 7 people on each shift, 4-hour shifts each. So there's going to be a lot of people involved in this. But we'll have an information tent when the truck gets unloaded by the high school football team, which we're really happy about. It's going to be a very educational experience for them. When we get that unloaded, the truck turns into an education center. Sides fold out, lots of videos and photos and what do we call it? Things you find on the wall, and it's very educational. The information tent will be there, 2 people in there all the time. You look up a name, they'll give you the name, and a guide will take you to the wall to find your loved one on the wall. It's a little confusing because this wall at the apex starts in the middle with the first casualty. Runs all the way to the right side, which is 69 or 70, and it ends. Well, people say, well, my son was killed in 71 and there's nobody there. Go back to the other side and come back to the middle. So it starts and ends in the middle. So that's why we have guides there too, to help. 24-hour guards to make sure nobody does anything to this wall. Got lights on top. The city is working really well with us. The mayor is working well with us. I think it's going to go really well. So any questions on that?
No, well, thank you. Thank you for coming this afternoon to share all this. That was a moment during the ceremony when it was unveiled. And thank you for bringing up all those community members, those individuals that helped make that dream come true for that day.
It is.
Those volunteers are very, very precious throughout our community.
Yes.
And you know that our McLeod County Board here is always 100% on board with whatever it takes to make sure that our veterans are properly taken care of.
Very good. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else for him at all?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Dave, thank you for the contribution you made making this memorial happen. And congratulations. It's a beautiful memorial, and I also want to say thank you to your donating partners as well for the help and materials that they supplied to make this happen. Job well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on. In our agenda, we will now take our added item, and we have Dots with us here today to cover resolution. We need to get this done ASAP.
Well, with the amount of rain that we've had since this spring, and it just keeps coming, and then the rain that continued from last week and up till, it's supposed to go until the end of this week, we've been having issues with multiple road closures, lots of areas that are underwater, and with that, then lots of damage is going to be occurring because of that we're not going to know of for the next days to weeks to come. So I contacted Homeland Security Emergency Management, and they said that we would definitely, with the amount of damage that we've had already and the work that's been done, there should be no problem reaching the level that we need to, which is just under $85,000 of damage. And with that, then that would be the state. And then if we get to the chance of over 160,000, then it actually will go into the federal funds. So this will allow us then to tap into the state funds and recoup up to 75% of what we've been putting forward towards the issues that we've had.
Okay. So just to add, from our highway engineer, our road closures currently, County Road 68 between County State Aid Highway and Falcon Avenue is closed. County State Aid Highway 32 east of Minnesota State Highway 15 is closed. County Road 71 between Minnesota 22 and County Road 62 is closed. And County State Aid Highway 23 east of Lesser Prairie is closed today. I know on Sunday I drove through various parts of Round Grove, Stewart, south of Stewart, in Round Grove Township, and there was a lot of their roads were under, and so a lot of damage being done out there. So our resolution is 24 CB20, and that is to declare a state of emergency in McLeod County in response to public property damage caused by flooding. So that is action item to adopt.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Nagel and a second by Schmaltz to adopt resolution 24 CB20, declaring a state of emergency in McLeod County in response to public property damage caused by flooding. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And as the damage estimates start coming in, I'll make sure that the board is updated so that you can have a general idea of what we have.
All right. Thank you,
Mr.
Casey.
Chair, see, before you go, I know the state's involved, but is the governor aware of what's going on?
Absolutely. Yep, and I've already been in contact with the state, Homeland Emergency Management, and they are aware of what's going on here, and the governor's been talking to them for updates too.
Yeah, just as a layman looking in, it looks like we're right kind of in the heart of some of the worst of it. I mean,
We are. And we've got lots of water that's coming towards in the next few days too, and then with the rains that are predicted, so it's going to get interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, well, Mr. Matthews retires and you get right into this right away, right? Absolutely. Yep, all right. Time. Moving into our next agenda item, will be item 5, environmental services.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
One item for your consideration, that is item A, to consider approving preliminary plat 24-01 requested by Jeff Nygaard, a one-lot plat be known as Nygaard Lot for the purpose of a building eligibility. The lot size is 2.22 acres, 215.15 feet by 450.08 feet, located in that part of the northeast quarter, section 14, Hutchinson Township. Transportation way off of Major Avenue, which is County Road 4. Soil borings performed indicate a standard septic system can be installed for a primary and a secondary site. The Hutchinson Town Board recommended approval on May 9, 2024, and the Planning and Advisory Commission recommended approval on May 22nd, 2024.
Mr. Chair.
go ahead.
Last meeting I tabled this because I've got some information at the 11th hour and didn't feel comfortable moving forward on it. It's on the lack of information I had received prior to that. Since then, I've done some digging and fact-finding on my own, and I would move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Nagel and a second by Kruger to consider approving the preliminary plat 24-01. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6, building maintenance. Anyone here?
Mr. Chair, I'm going over Spencer's item.
Okay.
Thank you. Item A, consider approving a quote from Liberty Mutual Insurance for a 1 year, I should say up to 1 year, $1,850,000 builder's risk insurance policy on the new fairgrounds building, the cost being $5,282, with funds from the designated for capital assets budget. I just want to note a couple of things. I do believe that this should be amended to be approved up to $5,500 because that cost is a quote and it can change. Hopefully it will not. It could also change down. MCIT, our typical insurance policy coverage, our carrier only offers policies for builders risk and insurance up to $150,000. You see below that there were other quotes that were received that were higher. And we also get this prorated. If you read it in your packet, you saw that we get the money back for whatever we do not need from that 1 year. And I don't anticipate that this will take anywhere near a year to have this coverage during the building process. It also lists all of the items that it covers in the packet, in the quote, and it's based on the total completed value of the project.
Okay, so we'd be looking for like a not to exceed 5,500.
I would ask for that, please. Thank you.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Kruger and a second Nagel to approve a quote from Liberty Mutual Insurance for 1 year builder's risk insurance policy on the new fairgrounds building. They cost of not to exceed $5,500. Is there any further discussion? Then we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be economic development.
Hello. The first item is asking you to consider authorizing the county attorney to terminate the tax abatement agreement by and between McLeod County and the Glencoe Hotel Group. In April, the county board sent a notice of an default to the Glencoe Hotel Group related to the tax abatement agreement between the group and McLeod County, which was entered into in September of 2023. We did receive a response letter back from the hotel group, and they thanked us for our partnership in the project. That letter is included in the packet, but they also did say that they don't have any current prospects that would allow them to secure sufficient financial or financing to complete the project. So I believe the next step would be to formally end agreement.
Mr. Chair, I'll move termination of the agreement as stated.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to. Second. to possibly, a little, they should, without harm, I mean, obviously you stated it, but I'd like to see in the motion that this was just due to circumstances, not on any, there was no neglect on anybody's part. It says it in the packet, but it's not in the motion. But
Okay, so we have a motion by Schmalz, a second by Nagel. Some comments by Commissioner Kruger that, that I think it maybe wasn't the way that we wanted it to turn out, but this shows that we are dotting our i's and crossing t's through the process, so that when the next opportunity comes around, we're open for better, perhaps better things to happen, but we have to try, and that's what a lot of this is about, is trying to bring new development or bring new assets to county. So we're doing the right thing.
Mr. Chair, that's absolutely correct. There's no harm. I mean, we're not stifling any or hurting any movement because we're willing to do it, I mean, look into it again when the time comes, if it comes.
Good.
We see trust Liz, but Ryan, this is exactly what you see that we need to do.
Yes, I mean, the agreement that we entered into set forth various ways in which, the agreement be terminated. And it's unclear if board action would absolutely be necessary, but we figured just in the interest of transparency and keep the board updated as well as anyone who might have been following the process, that it'd be best to do it in a public forum. So yes, it's just formally terminating what's already basically by act or lack thereof terminated the agreement.
Thank you.
Just an extra layer of transparency for everybody's sake. So any further comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is asking for you to consider approving the revised McLeod County Business Development Tax Abatement Application. So the original application was approved in December of 2022. The revised application incorporates the addition of a deposit to the county by the applicant to cover attorney and other costs that are incurred during the application analysis and approval process. And this deposit would be in addition to the business development administrative fee that is outlined in the McLeod County fee schedule. And so this came about, we had one application through, and we were talking with the finance attorney and public finance consultant that it would be helpful to incorporate this language into the application, so that it's clear that the applicant would be incurring the costs associated with the request. And they did give us an example of some language to use, which came from the city of Dayton.
Is it like a by hour thing
So-
or percentage, or am I missing something on how it works? Or?
Sorry, yes, the deposit is outlined as $10,000 escrow amount, and so it would be, I don't think it's actually called an escrow, but that's the way I view it, is that it would cover any of the costs that come in associated with the application, and then after the project is approved or not approved, any remaining amount would go back to the applicant.
That's, Mr. Chair, essentially learned during that process that we would not be anticipating why this is necessary. Correct?
Yes.
I mean,
And Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
I mean, the consultant do a physical analysis for the county. I mean, it's critically important for the board to have that information when it makes a decision. Take the information that the applicant provides, with, maybe everything that's needed, but we still have to do our due diligence to make sure we're protecting, county interests. And this deposit, it makes sure that the applicant bears those reasonable costs associated with us, vetting these, rather than it being transferred to the county. I mean, if it's only one applicant every so often, it might not be, a huge burden one way or another. But if we start seeing more applications, those costs could add up. And it's the applicants, that should typically be those costs. That's what other agreements and other programs typically do, and I think in our best interest too. So, yeah, this was very much based on the experiences while we worked through our first one. I think it's a good idea too.
Just to give an example, if you'd like, of costs that we've seen with the first application, it was about $5,800 in consulting and attorney fees total. So I think that $10,000 is appropriate to cover anything them up.
Okay.
Mr.
All
Chair,
right, go ahead.
I'll move the revision as presented today.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by Schmaltz, second by Kruger, to consider approving revised McLeod County Business Development Tax Abatement application. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, and, in the discussions I had when we started down this road and tried to draw some parameters to the program, I didn't think we'd be done with it. We were going to have to grow with it and see where it goes, and this is kind of where we're landing now after, let's say, our first experience, and I think we're on a good path, with what we've laid out here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Any further comments, questions? Then we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
Next up, we'll have the jail. Will Feltman, jail captain.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
So I'm here today to seek approval to upgrade the jail's inmate tracking system with Guard One for the price of $9,484. Background, so in the jail, we're required to do well-being checks, ensure the safety and security of all the inmates every 30 minutes. And we have a system, this Guard Worker, which it has magnetic mounts, and we tap them with a pipe essentially, and it documents that you were there. Getting the reports out of that current system is difficult, labor intensive, so that's how this came about. I reached out to the vendor, like, hey, I need a better reporting system, tracking, so I can hold everybody accountable. They came back with this proposal. They came back with two. The first one was just for software with the same system for roughly that $7,000 in the packet, or we can upgrade. Right now, we only have one pipe. This will provide us two different mobile devices. It will allow staff to document things while they're out on the floor instead of having to wait till they go back to the computer or having their staff document stuff for them. They can do it right from their handheld device, better tracking, better documentation for checks. It's going to be protecting the staff and the inmates as well. It's going to be a definite benefit for everyone involved.
Good. Any other questions for Will?
Mr. Chair, move to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Nagel, second by Kruger, to consider approving an upgrade to the McLeod County Jail's inmate round tracking system at a cost of $9,484, funds from the McLeod County Jail budget. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, just one question. Well, you call it a pipe, what does that mean? I mean, it's a special device, I assume it's not just,
Yeah, it actually looks like a small 6-inch pipe that it has a magnetic reader on one end, and then there's magnetic buttons on the wall, so you actually touch it, and it documents that you were there in the location that you said you were at.
yeah, it kind of goes without saying, but it's nothing that could duplicate it. It's, yeah, okay. Just
Yeah,
had to ask. I knew it was going to bother me, so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Will.
I'm glad you asked as well.
We employee relations. Hannah.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Okay, we have a few items today. Item A is consider approving the updated DOT drug and alcohol testing commercial drivers policy. This is a required policy. We do have a policy in place for all of our employees who hold a commercial driver's license or a CDL or a permit, a CDL permit. The previous policy was last approved in 2007, so this is just an updated policy to more accurately reflect requirements.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, to approve the updated DOT commercial drivers policy. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, Yeah, I read through the packet, and some of the questions that came to my mind is to be compliant with the drug testing or let's say the cannabis testing specifically. I know we still have some hurdles, I believe, we get there, but everything that we're looking at will be inclusive as far as cannabis and working through those issues with testing.
That's a question, Commissioner. Yes, I would say questions on my about that, but there are definitely specific requirements for our CDL driver with alcohol would be similar with cannabis. I don't have all the answers for that today, but yes, thank you for asking that, and we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Then proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. So the next item is considering approving a contract with TCS Occupational Service out of Glencoe to conduct the required Department of Transportation drug and alcohol testing services for our employees who hold a commercial driver's license. This process, goes right along with the policy and required for any entity like our public department.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Hannah, I mean, I know all about this, but who's TCS? Is that local in Glencoe? Am I just not knowing who that is, or new, or is this a one-year contract then, or?
So this will be an annual contract, something we'll bring back to the board annually. They have multiple locations, but they have one of their locations is here in Glencoe, but they have a testing site in Hutchinson as well. There are many other testing sites. I don't have all those in front of me, but it is
Okay.
there's a local location here.
Sometimes they're hard to, I mean, there's a number of them around, but I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by second by Schmaltz to approve the contract with TCS Occupational Services. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And then the comment I'll make is, I think, in reading through the packet, and if I'm understanding this right, this gives us a third-party involvement so that it protects both the county and the employee as well. Am I correct with those assumptions?
That's correct. And obviously, we protect ourselves and making sure we're being compliant, but
Absolutely.
it is people have worked towards to gain their CL, so we also want to make sure that they're protected. Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further comments? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C is consider approving the evaluation committee and personnel committee grade recommendation for the Parks and Recreation Maintenance Worker 1. This is not a new position. This position was formerly called the Fairgrounds Worker, which was out of date with what we're currently doing. We've moved to our Public Works Department and then a Parks and Fairground unit. So we're not just fairgrounds or parks, but we're working to cross both. If you remember, a few months ago, I brought a Parks and Recreation Maintenance Worker. We're going to be calling that a 2. That requires an additional Class B CDL. This does not require that. And again, not an additional position, but just getting it up to reflect our Parks and Recreation unit.
Is there a second? I can second that. Motion by Nagel, second by Wright to approve the evaluation committee grade recommendation for Parks and Rec Maintenance Work 1. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'm a little unclear now on why is the lowering in the class of the license, or how did you determine that was not needed?
And so that was for I just didn't mean to confuse it, but that was for the job position that we recently graded. This position just does not require, it's not required for the duties of that position. They do a lot of other maintenance across the parks and fairgrounds, but will not be required to drive any vehicle that would require a CDL.
And the fairgrounds worker did?
Nope, it did not.
Okay, so that didn't require it either.
Yep, correct. That's correct.
Okay, any further comments or questions? Will it be to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My last item is item D. Consider approving the Personnel Committee's recommendation to extend one current temporary assistant county attorney through the end of 2024. The temporary employee is working with us and was approved to be with us through the end of June. This extension is due to a significant increase in case numbers, and of course, Attorney Hanch is here if there's any additional questions.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Kruger, second by Nagel, to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation to extend a temporary assistant county attorney through the end of 2024. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd like to hear what our county attorney would say and provide us with some supplemental information on the extension we're looking at.
Absolutely, thank you. This particular request is twofold. One, we have an opportunity with the individual that we only anticipated being available through June, being available up until perhaps the end of the year. It may terminate sooner, but the person currently in that position is Mr. Laughlin. So he's a 25-year career prosecutor. So he is a great resource to have at our disposal. But the need is based in large part just on our case numbers. If you look at 2023, we filed 317 felonies. If you compare that to 2022, we had 223. So that's a 42% increase. Even if you go back approximately 4 years, it's still approximately a 20% increase at minimum or over those years in averages. So we've seen a significant bump there. That's across case types. In the sex crime counts that we filed, there was an approximately 91% increase over our 2019 to 2022 average. So 2023 bumped up. Weapon crimes, it was approximately a 300% increase from the 2019 to 2022 average. So these two types of case types are labor intensive, quite serious, and command a fair amount of our time. Person crimes, so assaults and crimes against a person, whether it's a sexual assault, an assault, stalking, those types of offenses, approximately 44.8% in 2023 versus that 2019 to 2022 average. So an increase there. If you look at, I did pull some numbers just year to date. In 2023, we saw some of those numbers. When we look at where we're at so from 2024, from January 1 until May 31, which are the numbers I had available from court administration, that's where I've been pulling these numbers. So we have an 8% still in traffic mandatory filings, approximately a 24% increase in the number of certain juvenile delinquency filings, 100% increase in the number of juvenile petty offense filings, 55% in the number of juvenile traffic filings, a 17% increase in the children in need of protection and service filings, and so on. So there's been a lot of work. The numbers were up in 2023 in the past, and now in 2024 they're still rising. So that's what's created the need, and we have an opportunity to fill that now. Frankly, the temporary attorney position allows us to address those needs in a way that's still fairly cost effective. There's not certain benefits and other things associated with that position at this time, which really brings one aboard apart doing it this way versus if it were a full position at this time. So I don't know if I kind of threw a lot of numbers in a hurry there, but if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, but that's kind of the gist.
Thank you, Attorney Hanch. That was more information than what I was looking for.
Well, I apologize.
But yeah.
Did you guys set that up, or do you have that on the tip of your tongue?
Well, no, I've been living it, but I've got some notes here.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
as long as we had this discussion, I'd just like to thank the Personnel Committee, the county attorney for, this was an efficient way of looking at it, and the reason I didn't ask, I don't like those numbers. So, but you utilized an existing employee and got this through pretty fast, and I'm sure probably not heard the last of it, unfortunately, not your fault, but I do appreciate that efficiency.
Thank you.
Yeah, sounds like we need people to behave just a little more. Yeah. Any further questions or comments?
I mean, if you would just tell Joe and his coworkers to stop sending stuff, it might not be necessary.
Quit arresting so many
Well,
people.
maybe you didn't
It's
hear me.
countywide.
When he said that, I said, I'll second that, we need to have people behave better.
and we all pay the bills, don't we? So, any further questions or comments? We'll then proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 10 will be Public Works. You taking that?
Yep, thank you. Item A, consider approving an estimate from RJ Thomas Manufacturing Company for 10 Parks grills at a cost of $10,240.57 using American Rescue Plan Act funds. Just one moment, I have some detail on this to share with you. The park grills will be installed at the park shelter and the Piepenburg and Marion beaches. The old grills would be removed. The Hutchinson Area Biking Club is very excited to have one out at stalls and planning to use it frequently. So they wanted to share that.
Okay.
Move request, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. A motion by Schmal, second by to approve an estimate of RJ Thomas Manufacturing for 10 grills at a cost of $10,240.57. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
it just that they're needed, the other ones are wore out, and that's, I don't want to call it an evil because it's fun to grill, but what do we, what to do? We hope that they enjoy it and utilize them in the park. Take care of them.
Yep. And these items were brought forward when we did the planning. People have indicated that there's a need there, and we want individuals to be able to use our park system. So, any further discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider approving estimate from Lifetime Products to purchase tables, chairs, and racks to accommodate 304 people at the new Fairgrounds building, a cost of $23,355.10, again using Rescue Plan Act funds. I do like that they would, they're looking for a bit more elegant look, they say here, by using round banquet tables. I just think that that'll be a nice option for our fairgrounds facility. We use it quite often for meetings and such, and that's different than what we currently have, so.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Nagel, second by Kruger to consider approving an estimate of Lifetime Products for tables, chairs, and racks at a cost of $23,355.10. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I think we all know that the chairs and tables at the fairgrounds are older, different style. I don't care if they're round, square, octagon, there's a lot of them that need to be replaced out there. And, I'm assuming this is focusing on the new building project to a degree and equipping that, but I'm happy that they're starting to address that need.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to county administration, review our calendars. Mr. Gill?
Water issues, anybody else got them? Lots of phone calls, lots of visits, trying to help with that, along with our inspectors. And, personnel issues that, I guess stop saying issues, because I'm not saying issues. Personnel related items that we've addressed and around the board today. Working with the city of Hutch and county attorney and soon to be the county auditor regarding an incident that happened in Hutch that the county will be potentially involved with. And then in my day job, I found time to do it with last week with the Hutch Water Carnival, and believe it or not, that became a water issue too.
There you go.
So that's it.
Attended the employee picnic last week, Fairgrounds Commission meeting. Our projects are moving along, but we're not sure if they're moving along fast enough. But I guess anywhere between the weather and just kind of some difficulties are getting in the way of kind of staying on some time. We're for the best. The water, roads, tile lines, it's everywhere. It's going to be expensive. Can't do much about it, but be where we need to be and keep things safe. So, go ahead.
Okay, since the last meeting, attended the North Fork One Watershed, One Plan. It's everything's water. But that's actually going fairly well, but, you know, it remains to be seen on how we can utilize some of that money coming down right now. We just got to get rid of the water we have. I had an HRA meeting and also the drainage stakeholder meeting. That was a meeting over the drainage work group, trying to figure out our plan going forward to the legislature didn't pass anything too drastic and put us back to work on trying to form a new legislation for drainage, hard job. And I just want to thank everyone for thoughts and prayers while I'm going through some family issues with my wife. Everything's going fine. I'd like to thank the administration and my fellow commissioners and my constituents for their thoughts and helping me out. So, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Kruger, and we wish Linda the best and your family as well. Since our last board meeting on the 4th, I attended the Prime West Joint Powers Board meeting held in Alexandria. That meeting was pretty much business as usual. Their member count is down slightly. Most of that is due to the reapplication of those folks that are participating in MA and Minnesota Care. And it was expected that we would lose a few members through the activity, but I think their projections are on target, and there's no panic whatsoever. I mean, we're talking of just a few thousand people out of a membership of something close to 60,000. So pretty encouraging there. The other thing about the Prime West Joint Powers Board meeting is they're hopeful with getting an optimistic outcome to the legal issue concerning county-based purchasing. The arguments have been made now, and it's in the hands of the court, and that's don't really expect a ruling until maybe the September timeframe on a court's opinion on that. And then last week, I also attended the County Employee Recognition Party, as Commissioner Wright noted, and I'd like to thank all those involved with making it a successful event, and also the Wright family and their help with serving the malts in the malt wagon. Very good. Last Friday, I attended the AMC District meeting, which was held in Henderson, Minnesota. It was hosted by the Sibley County group this year. The meeting was well attended. A couple of notes I made was that there was quite a bit of time dedicated by AMC about opioid and cannabis ordinance. They asked the group who's all acted on cannabis ordinance of the counties that were there, and amazingly, I mean, nobody has acted on it. Well, who's all discussed it? And amazingly, McLeod was the only county that has started the discussion on how to deal with cannabis ordinance. So AMC laid out some guidelines on an ordinance. Hopefully there'll be some information coming down, a template as such that we can look at and use and apply in our member counties as well. The other one of the other larger presentations was done by Minnesota Extension Group, and they are stating a need for additional funding, which we'll probably be looking at here as the months go forward. But they stated their case. They also explained, you know, where the funding has been and where we need to be. So hopefully we can look at that in a favorable light and note the accomplishments that Extension gives our county, but we can look forward to reviewing that a little more now as we move into the budgeting process. And I believe that gets us to today, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
His office, any further comments? Back to administration.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things to add. One note, you've probably noticed that our Commissioner Darrell Lutz hasn't been present the past couple meetings. Please keep your thoughts. He has some health concerns that he is handling, and just will not be here tonight for either of our meetings. So thank you for thinking of him. And also, I just wanted to note, because I saw it, that Glencoe Days, which I think Commissioner Kruger might have mentioned, I'm not sure if you did, or
Canceled.
it's canceled, except there's still, the reason I'm mentioning it is because sometimes people say everything's canceled, and there are still 2 events. The Glencoe Royalty is holding the pork chop feed on Thursday, and Glencoe Car and Bike Show is still going on. So look those up if you're looking for it. I know there's been miscommunication on that end. Glencoe is discussing it right now. And then also, I just want to thank all of our county employees and their families that attended the recognition event last week. So thank you for taking the time to do that. We removed item A. Item B, a notification. That's a notification of Renville, Sibley, McLeod Joint Drainage Authority public hearing on the petition of David Broderius FAM Partnership and Southern Minnesota Beach Sugar Co-op for partial abandonment of Ditch 15, Branch G50 and G51. The Drainage Authority will hear public comment regarding the partial abandonment in the Commissioner's Room of the Renville County Government Services Center, 105 South 5th Street, Olivia, Minnesota, on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. or thereafter as the agenda allows. Item C, notification of County Board Workshop following board meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024, here at the McLeod County Government Center at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Into open forum or press relations. Is there anything from the press or anyone wish to approach the board? Okay. Looking for a motion to recess.
Oh.
We have a motion by Nagel, a second.
By Kruger.
Second by Kruger to recess until our next county board meeting, 9 a.m. Tuesday, July 2nd, here at the McLeod County Government Center. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.